Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pikeville City Commissioners Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley-Dotson for the City of Pikeville. Today's guest for our show, Pikeville City Commissioner Patrick McNamee. Hey, Pat.
Hi, Jill. Thanks
Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
First time that we've been able to sit down in this new year and discuss some things going on with the Pikeville City Commission. It seems like we were just here getting ready to go into December and all the great activities we have going on. But now we're in a new year and we have a lot going on still.
We do.
So let's talk, we've heard a lot of talk about the water and wastewater rate studies and things like that. So we're really going to focus on some of those more infrastructure type issues with you today. So let's talk first about the self-supporting funds.
Yeah, our funds for the wastewater and water, they need to balance. You know, the revenues need to equal the expenses. So every 4 or 5 years, we have a study done to determine how our funds are doing and how the rates are compared to the expenses. So that's been done, and we've determined that there needs to be some rate increases.
Not something that people ever want to hear, but certainly with progress and different things and the cost of services going up, those type things just have to happen, unfortunately.
Just a fact of life. Yep.
Yeah. You all have been very involved with some rate studies, and these studies take into account revenues, expensive capital investments, and other factors. So let's talk a little bit about how you come to decide on the increase and what those rate studies really show.
Well, the people we hire, the firm that we hire to come in and do this, they study all the expenses over a period of time. And they also look at what our system needs as far as capital expenditures, pipe, pumps, things of that nature, and the distance that the water has to be pumped. Looks at our expenses as far as materials used, and they determine that, what our costs are and what they think it's going to be, and to come up with the rates to make sure our fund balances.
And all of those things, I'm told, tend to change with time about every 5 years.
They do. It's good to have a study every 5 years. Just like inflation, I mean, it's usually 2 or 3% every year, so this is no different.
Yeah, it's
no
different.
The costs go up, things need to be replaced, pipe needs to be replaced.
Yeah, certainly. So it's no different than with any other kind of facilities or infrastructure that you have. Things do change, things do wear out, just like things happen at your home.
Exactly.
You know, those things need to be replaced, and it's no different, just on a much larger scale. Let's talk about the wastewater and sewer systems. It's something that we often talk about because we have a growing population here in our area. So when that grows and things change, then we have to make some changes in other areas.
Right. Back in 2017, we were applying for grants to upgrade our wastewater facility. And at that time, we were told, I'm not sure which government agency told us this, but we were told that our rates were insufficient at that time to balance. So we had to make an increase in 2017 to the wastewater. So this increase we're talking about today is just on the water, not waste.
Not waste. So it's just the water services at the moment. Important for everybody to understand at this point that it's on a combination of the two.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about doing the water system description. I know it's in 3 categories, so let's explain to our viewers a little bit how that works.
That's right. We have wholesale, we have inside city limits, and outside city limits. Wholesale, we have, I think we have 2 customers. We have Big Sandy in Floyd County, then we have Mountain Water, which is Pike County. Then, of course, we have inside the corporate limits. Those are the residents of the city. Then we have outside that are also on our water systems. The outside, of course, the people on the inside, the rates are cheaper, less expensive because they're closer to the water facilities and to the pipes. The further you get away from the water facility, the more expensive it becomes to maintain, so that's why we have different rates.
And this brings us in quite a bit of revenue.
Well, it does, but it all balances. It's all used for the expenses. So
right. So it does balance out, but we just want to make sure people know that we do have those 3 types of customers that do feed from that system. Let's talk a little bit about the water system rate study results. So we've talked a lot about why there's a need and because of the increase, but what they actually found.
Well, they found that we needed to increase the in-city rates by $1.12 on the minimum. And on an average customer that uses 5,000 gallons a month, that would increase their bill $2.98. That's on average. On the outside city customers, the monthly minimum would increase $9 per month, and that would increase their, on a typical 5,000 gallon per month user, to increase their bill $16.56 per month.
So again, all of these, the studies are there. The studies have been shown and substantiate the need for a little bit of a change. So it's really not something that we did not expect, But certainly, like we mentioned, that about every 5 years, things need to be fixed and changed and
It does.
increased.
And it's been 10 years since we've actually made an increase, so that's one of the reasons the rates might seem to be, the increase might seem a little more than normal, but it's been 10 years since the increase, so.
As a city commissioner, you're entering your second term. We've talked about this before with, after the election, but I know there are certain things that you really feel strongly about, and every one of our commissioners that we speak to and that we sit down and talk with, all of you have different things that are near and dear to your heart. So as we begin the new year, I know there are things that you want to really focus on. What are some of those things for this new term, a new year?
Well, the economic development's always near and dear to all of our hearts. We want business to come to our town, to bring people with them, and it just helps everybody in general. That's number one. As far as some smaller things, the Jenny Wiley Theater, that's a thing that my children participate in, and we get a lot of enjoyment out of. And they're going through some changes, and things seem to be on track there. That's the big ones that I care about.
I know that being a lifelong resident of our area and growing up here, you've been able to see so many changes, like so many of our commissioners have, how things were 20 years ago as compared to now. And isn't it remarkable when you sit and look at the landscape of our area, what our city and our commissions have been able to do to really grow our area?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, I was a child when they started the cut through.
Yeah.
And I can still remember trying to get around the bypass in a car with, a car full of kids, and it was impossible to get through town just because of the traffic. So I can remember back how it used to be, and what it is today is just, no one would believe it if they hadn't been here in 40 years.
Yeah, and certainly the opportunities for our children have expanded so much. I think about Jenny Wiley Theater, and I know your kids are very involved there, but I think about the other opportunities that our children in our area have, and how different their lives are going to be now because of people that have served in the past have really laid the foundation for what we have now.
They have. I mean, they've done a great job. It started with Mayor Hambly, and it's just continued. The commissioners and the mayors and the city managers, and our form of government, the city manager form of government, I think is a key to a lot of the reasons that we are where we are today. It just works.
I've talked also with City Manager Philip Ellswick and our other commissioners about when you travel for city work, or when you go and you're part of focus groups and things of that nature. It always seems that there are people, and they even do it with me too because of the field that I'm in, always ask, what are you doing in Pikeville? Why does it have what it has, and why are the people wanting to come there? What would be your response to that?
Well, it's the planning that the commissions have done in the past. We've been fortunate to have a great educational facility in U-Pike. We also have a great hospital that has grown leaps and bounds, and all those things together have combined to allow the city to do a lot of things that we've done.
It's one of those things that you're so thankful for the past, but knowing what's going on now, you look so forward to the future. And one of the things that we're really excited about too is Kentucky Enterprise Park, the getting started there and finally having that one tenant that's going to open its doors really soon. I know that's near and dear to your heart.
It is Silverliner, which I'm employed by Silverliner. We hope that our building is almost dry, let's say.
Yeah.
Hopefully by the end of next month, we'll be able to have some production going through there. And hopefully by the middle of summer, we'll have the full facility going.
Yeah, I can remember when that first started, when the clearing of that land and the development started, and we were hoping and really reaching out to different tenants. And when it got full, it was one of those great moments where you knew that what we were doing made a difference, and we were going to be able to change the landscape for years to come, not only from the businesses being there, but certainly to replace jobs lost by the coal industry.
Absolutely, and we also have Interblue coming.
Yeah.
We should start their spec building here in the next couple of months once the government comes back from their shutdown. So we have a lot going on, and everything looks to be going in the right direction.
Absolutely. Well, I know you've got your hands full and you're really busy, but looking forward to dig in to a new year in 2019 with the commission and everything that they have going on.
All right. Thank you.
Pat, thanks so much for being here. Pikeville City Commissioner Patrick McNamee. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the Pikeville City Commissioners Report. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pikeville City Commissioners Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley-Dotson for the City of Pikeville. Joining me for the next few minutes is Pikeville City Commissioner Bob Shurtleff. Hey, Bob. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Glad to see you. Listen, it seems like it's been forever since we sat down and talked a little bit. Lots has happened since, November, December time. But we're in a new year, and we are looking forward to the great thing that the Pikeville City Commission has going on for the upcoming year. A few things that we want to start off by is updating everyone on our business development, and that's something that you are really keyed in on and have always been really focused on. But we do have our Kentucky Enterprise Park that we are so proud of and so thankful to have. Silver Liner is getting ready to open up their facility, and we could not be more excited about that.
Yes, it's an exciting time. Kentucky Enterprise Industrial Park is virtually full with Silver Liner and Interblood there. Silver Liner has been working diligently, and the building is almost completed in construction. Hopefully they'll be putting product out of there by March, April timeframe. So that's the first step. I know Chris and their team has been working diligently and making hires and getting people trained and ready to start that venture with a new business up there and really be an anchor up there as the first tenant.
Seems like we were just talking yesterday about their hope and their desire to manufacture and assemble those tanker trucks. And then it went to, this building is going to be huge, 60,000 square feet. And when you go up there, and if you saw it before, and then you saw this just blank canvas, and now you see that building almost completed, it has to feel good knowing that you're serving with people and on a commission, and certainly with new business leaders that really want to see our area prosper.
It is, and it goes back from the cut through and Donovan Blackburn and Mayor Justice of having a vision when this started several years ago. You have to go back to looking at those people that are visionary and saying, this is the future of Pikeville. It wasn't exactly the future they thought because they wanted to use a middle-income housing project or put housing up there. And we're able to change it and get it into an industrial park and bring the clients like Silver Liner. When you see that 60,000-foot facility, then you see Interblood when they begin building. They'll start with another building that's very similar in 60,000 in phase one. As soon as the government shut down and they get the final approval from OSM to get that started off, hopefully we'll have a little groundbreaking for that building to begin. So there'll be twins to begin with, and then moving on toward phase two and phase three, they'll keep growing with over 1 million square foot. But Silver Liner starts out with 30, 40 employees and go up to 300 in 5 years. So that's great. I mean, that's what it's about, is bringing employment opportunities back into the region.
Yeah, and those well-paying jobs where people can support their families, and nothing will ever replace, I don't think, and we've talked about this, the jobs lost by the coal industry, but this is certainly one way to get on the right path.
It is, and it gives us opportunity to diversify the portfolio with different types of jobs. Everything's not in one basket. Chris was adamant about bringing that product and doing it here locally, and that's 300 people doing that. We'll have another 875. 800 to 1,000, depending on which conversation and when that is and how far out you're looking out in employment with Interblood. So, and then there's other pieces. There's another opportunity in the park, as we talked about a little bit, that App Harvest was looking at. It's still open, and ever who is looking for another home, that's available.
Let's go back to Interblood for a few moments. We talked about after the government shutdown is over, and we will start to be able to move some ground there. That by far has been the largest employer that we've seen that will be building there. Certainly, it will come in phases, but at least after all said and done, 1 million square feet of space under roof with several buildings there, nearly $400 billion of investment opportunities in Pikeville. They are going to be producing something totally different than our tanker trucks that we have, but these will be long-term jobs, 875, I think, at their max opportunity there. So there's still space available for another, like you said, with with App Harvest not continuing there, there's still so much opportunity for other businesses to come in and really take advantage of what's up there.
There is, and it may be opportunities for businesses that accompany Silverliner, that accompany Interblue, that'll be spurring off of those two. So Interblue's average salary was in the 80,000 range, but you go up and look at it, like you said, it's a big building that Silverliner has got started, and you put a 1 million square foot beside it, which is 15 times the size of that one. And well, I know last week we had some announcements that they shifted their schedule a little bit, and that may be but it can be built on that type of mounts. Well, we've got a similar product in the Hazard area that's built on 40 to 70 foot of overburden, and it's manageable. Their building there has been there for 5 years, not moved less than 1/4 of an inch in recent surveys. So we're excited about that progress to begin, and to see the groundbreaking on that next piece.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. Something else that I think is really exciting and very vital to the access of that area, you have the one road right now, and it is a very steep road and has a lot of switchbacks. But because of the number of people that you're going to have working there when it's all said and done, and the deliveries that will have to be made into and out of that space, there was the talk of having another access road, and that is something that's going to happen soon.
Yes, it is. We're in the early stages of that, of right-of-way acquisition. We've got the funding for it. The first road that you're referencing with the switchbacks and the steepness meets all the code, meets all the grades that we need, but it is going to, it's on the tight side. It's on the steeper side with the curves. This secondary, which will end up being the primary road, the new one coming in around the post office up there, hopefully will be finished in 2020, and that'll allow the more of the tankers and stuff to go in at an easier grade, and we'll still utilize the existing Enterprise Park Road for access for workers and other things that are coming in and off the hill.
Yeah, so it's going to be one of those places that I anticipate in probably about 5 years going to be a very, very busy place, and we're thankful for that. We talk a lot about the change in our landscape downtown and things that have come in the past year, and certainly one of our biggest things that opened in the last year is Dueling Barrels Distillery. We watched it from the ground up. We watched different things happen, and people wonder if it was ever going to get finished. But there's a lot of things that had to happen underground before that facility was able to open. But it's a $15 million investment in downtown Pikeville, and it is a gorgeous facility. They opened to the public in June, the end part of June, and it has just taken off like crazy.
Yes, it has, and it's another vision that Dr. Lyons and his wife and rest his soul that had, because it reminded him so much of home. And we're so fortunate to have people like that come in here and visit and bring this type of investment to our area. And actually, when they officially get announced on the Bourbon Trail, we hope that it's going to be the beginning of the Bourbon Trail, not the end, that everybody from the East Coast will start in Pikeville. So it's a tremendous draw as far as tourism. There's several 100,000 people go to the Bourbon Trail every year, and hopefully Danny does a great job over there, and we can bring all those people that have been through the Bourbon Trail to come back and get the new piece.
That's right. I was sharing with one of our commissioners earlier. I was in the gift shop just the other day, and the gentleman that was working with me, he was like, we can't even sell you what we do here yet because it takes 2 years to age. And I was like, well, in 2 years we're going to have another celebration because it's going to be a release party. But when you go in there, and certainly I always invite people to go in because you see the site on Hambly, and then you enter from the gift shop on 2nd Street side. But when you see the enormity of the building and you see how interesting it is, it just draws you to want to go in and see what's happening on the inside. But they are looking forward to opening Pierce's Place in the next few months, which will be an eatery that will go along that you can stop in after the tour. But really, it's one of those things that you've lived here your entire life, and you've seen it grow and expand, and how our landscape has changed so much. I've lived here for almost 20 years, and it's interesting for me to see how it's changed too. But I always tell people, if you want to see what's really happening, come downtown and just look around and see what we have to offer, because it will blow you away.
Yeah, and we're constantly looking at what else we can do.
Yeah.
What's the next step downtown, and how we can draw those people in and have an area that's comfortable for all ages to come down and enjoy it. But to hear the storytellers that they use at Dueling Barrels and the stories of Hatfield McCoy, I mean, it fits perfectly with our culture and genre.
And when you listen to him, doesn't it take you back and you think, I really live here where this happened? You know,
Yeah,
it's a great reminder of our heritage.
It is, and for many of us, I mean, it gets you grounded and go back and listen to it. Some have never done any research, or really they know the story a little bit, but you get to hear some inside pieces.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, things that a lot of times when you live somewhere, you don't take advantage of the opportunities that you have until something like the Hatfield McCoy piece that came out a few years ago, and there's such a renewed interest, not only from people outside of our area, but really from here too. I mean, it's a great reminder.
It is. On a personal story, last year was the first year I've been to Jenny Wiley's grave. I mean, I've lived here for 56 years. So,
I grew up in Johnson County and still have never been.
and
When you think of
took
that.
the time to go to
Yeah.
go to it. I mean, we've got a rich heritage here.
Yeah, we certainly do. And it's funny, and I was telling my husband just recently, we were talking about that, and it's not far from where my grandparents live, and because it's there, I thought, well, I can go anytime I want. But we really need to, and we really need to instill that in our kids too, and take them to the sites that we have here, because you know, it's a world of heritage and knowledge that we need to make sure we pass along to our kids. Need to take responsibility for that. East Kentucky Expo Center, quickly, I want to hit on some things happened last year. Paul Bowles, we have a new GM. He was named in October, doing a great job.
Yes, he is. He came from Salem, and he's hit the ground running.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of product coming in, and also congratulations to Larry Miller as
Yes.
naming the assistant GM, and he did a tremendous job while we were looking for that, and hopefully we'll have places for him in the future. So it's another piece that is a part of here that we can bring people in for tourism. It's actually being break even
Right.
financially,
Yeah.
so that's wonderful, and I know Paul will continue that.
He certainly will, and has a great staff, and they do a wonderful job. We're really excited, and Philip and I have talked at length about the construction of a new event center to be located on top of Bob Amos at the Overlook. I really am excited about it. I think it's going to be a huge draw for people wanting to have intimate meetings, events. I just with the best view that you will not get anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, anything you see about the city that moved mountains, you see that overlook. It's become quite popular to see the evening view of the lights and going through the cut through, and to have an event center up there that will have 300 people capacity.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have some cabins there as a phase 2 or phase 3 part of that product. And it will work hand in hand with the Expo Center so that we can have breakout rooms and attract some things that we can't attract now with just the Expo and having this event center. So I think it's a welcome addition to the city and another tool in our toolbox.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Just one more feather in the cap of things that we can offer people that want to come here and really enjoy what we have to offer. As we finish out, we have new businesses that are coming downtown all the time, but we do want to talk about Carbon Coffee that is going to be in the former Roasted building and how that works with getting those type of businesses into downtown.
Yeah, Carbon Coffee is in the process right now of kicking off, and it's another way that we can help promote entrepreneurship and draw small businesses and to startups here in downtown. We'll have they'll have an outside seating area. They'll serve the coffees and continue that growth that has started there in the past where Roasted was. So it's another piece. We've got 2 or 3 different areas that we're doing these entrepreneur programs. And this is just our latest, and hopefully it'll sprout into another thriving business.
A lot of people are really excited to see that open back up for their coffee and pastries in the morning. I know I'm one of them. So lots of different things coming to downtown. Looks like 2019 is going to be a really fun and productive year for our city, and having so many other opportunities come in. I know there is a laundry list of things that are in the works that we can't announce yet, but we're looking forward in the coming months to doing that. Bob, thanks so much for your time, and again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and thank you.
Pikeville City Commissioner Bob Shurtleff. This has been the Pikeville City Commissioner's Report. Thank you so much for joining us.